Hey, it's Deborah Boschert. I am here to talk with Susan Brubaker Knapp about my new book, Art Quilt Collage. Hey, Susan, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, I really enjoyed your book. It looks great.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much. So we are going to talk specifically today about the stitching chapter of the book, and I'm going to pull that up on my screen right now. So here's the stitching chapter where I talk both about machine stitching and hand stitching, which I love equally, but I want to talk to you especially about machine stitching because your machine stitching in your work is just stunning, and I'm eager to hear what caught your eye in this chapter and how you think people can incorporate machine stitching in art quilts.
Well, one of the things that was so interesting to me in reading the book is that our work, even though we both make art quilts, your work is so different than mine. Mine is so realistic and representational, and yours seems to be much more symbolic and with more layers of meaning to it. And so I love how when you talk about adding machine stitching, you're adding another layer, another element or layer of meaning to your work.
I do really think of the machine stitched line as an additional design element, and sometimes it stands on its own, and sometimes it complements the other elements of the quilt, and sometimes both.
Yeah, and you gave people such great suggestions for different ways to think about it, and really specific examples, which I think is very valuable for people, not only for beginners, and this book I think would be terrific for people who want to, dip their toes into art quilting and like your style, because it shows really specific examples of how the stitch changes things. And that's so nice. But I think even for people who are experienced art quilters like me, it just gives you a lot to think about. There's a ton of information here.
I did really pack it full, didn't I?
You must have been busy.
I did. There's lots of words and lots of pictures in this book for sure.
I love your example too of you talked about printing out a copy, taking a photograph and printing out a copy, and then using that to kind of sketch or doodle out how you wanted to stitch. And that is such a great idea because I think a lot of people panic when they get to that stage. They have no idea what to do. And so that takes a little bit of the fear out of it if they're planning it ahead and they can practice, and you can always crunch that piece of paper up and throw it out if you don't.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that technique. I call that my stitch map, and I do tons of auditioning possibilities for both machine stitching and hand stitching on just really simple print out images of the quilt top. Yeah.
Yeah, and I never do that. So that was kind of an interesting thing to see. It's always fun, as an artist to see how other people approach something, and maybe you've never thought of that. And that's why I do think it's so great to read books and
I agree.
See what other people are doing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for reading mine. I'm happy that you will be giving away a copy of the book, which is great.
Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
Yeah, great. People can check out down below on Susan's blog to find out how to win a copy of the book. And also she'll have a whole list of all the other bloggers and quilt artists who are included on the blog hop. And you can check out what chapters we'll be talking about with them and win a chance to get a copy of the book on their blogs also. So thanks again, Susan. This was super.
Oh, thank you. Really enjoyed it.
I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.